Hello learners, I am Dr. Subodh Kesharwani working with Indira Gandhi National Open University in School of Management Studies. The topic which I am going to talk today is a sequel of what we have discussed in our preceding session, index number. So in the previous session we have talked a lot about index number, and now we are going to talk about how we are going to construct the index number and what are the certain methodologies which are going to play a very important role as far as formulation of index number is concerned. So prior to going into the depth of this topic, I just want to throw a light that this is part of our MCOM program, that is Research Methodology and Statistical Analysis, and we are here in the third blocks, which more talking about processing of data and the trends. So this is the third chapter of this third block, and we are focusing on the index number. So index number may be categorized in terms of the variables that they are planned to measure, and since this course is designed for the Master of Commerce students, so basically they are going to set up their own business or work in the commerce and trade. So in business, different groups of variable in measurement of which index number techniques are normally used are prices, quantity, values and business activity. So what we have observed that index numbers are intended to study the change in the effects of such factors which cannot be measured directly, and certain the experts who have given their views on the index numbers, like Bowley stated that index numbers are used to gauge the change in some quantity which we cannot observe directly. So it can be explained through example in which changes in business activity in a nation are not capable of direct measurement, but it is possible to study relative changes in business activity by studying the variations in the values of some such factors which affect business activity and which are proficient of direct measurement. So what we have observed that index numbers are usually applied in statistical device to measure the combined fluctuations in a group related variables. If statisticians or researchers wants to compare the price level of consumer items today with that predominant 10 years ago, they are not interested in comparing the prices of only one item, but in comparing some sort of average price levels. So with the support of index numbers, the average price of several articles in 1 year may be compared with the average price of the same quantity of the same articles in number of different years. So in the coming slides, we are able to see that how this change is going to affect and how the index number is quite helpful in comparing the average price of same quantity of different years. So there are several sources of official statistics that contain index numbers of quantities such as food price, clothing prices, housing and wages. And prior to going to the depth of the methods of calculation of index numbers, we just want to throw a light on types of index numbers. So a simple index number is a number that measures a relative change in a single variable with respect to a base. These type of index numbers are constructed from a single item only. And if you talk about the composite index number, a composite index number is a number that measures an average relative changes in a group of relative variables with respect to a base. A composite index number is built from changes in a number of different items. So there are two or more type of index numbers. One is price index numbers and other is quantity index number. So price index number measures the relative change in prices of a commodity between two periods. Prices can be either retail or wholesale. Price index numbers are useful to comprehend and interpret varying economic and business conditions over time. Whereas the quantity index number, if you go more into the depth of that, these types of index numbers are considered to measure changes in the physical quantity of good produced, consumed or sold of an item or a group of items. And methods of constructing index number, if we are going more into the depth of methods of constructing of index number, there are two methods to construct index number: price relative and aggregate methods. So what we have observed that index number has practical significance in measuring changes in the cost of living, production trends, trade and income variations, and index numbers are used to measure changes in the value of money. There are certain study of rise or fall in the value of money is essential for determining the directions of production and employment to facilitate future payments and to know changes in the real income of different groups of people at different places and times. So what we have observed that if we go more into the depth of the definitions given by some of the experts, like Crowther designated that by using the technical device of an index number, it is thus possible to measure changes in different aspects of the value of money, each particular aspect being relevant to a different purpose. Basically, index numbers are applied to frame appropriate policies. They reveal trends and tendencies, and index numbers are beneficial in deflating. So now certain questions comes up while going to the depth of this construction of index number. What difficulties one has to face while formulating or constructing the index number. So the first difficulty is in the selection of the base period, because base period is something which is very important ingredient, and the first difficulty relates to the selection of the base years. So if we go into the depth of that, we find out that the base years should be normal, but it is difficult to determine a true normal year. Moreover, what may be the normal year today may become an abnormal year after some period. So therefore, it is not advisable to have the same year as the base period for a number of years. Rather, it should be changed after 10 years or so, but there is no fixed rule for this. So difficulties in selection of commodities. So this is the second, the stumbling blocks which while formulating or constructing the index number, is that the selection of representative commodities for the index number is another difficulty. The choice of representative commodity is not an easy matter. They have to be selected from a wide range of commodities which the majority of people consume. Again, what were representative commodities some 10 years ago may not be representative today. The consumption part of consumers might change and thereby make the index number useless. So the choice of representative commodities presents real difficulties. So now there are a lot of more difficulties while in collection of prices also. Another difficulty is that collecting adequate and accurate prices, it is often not possible to get them from the same source or place. Further, the problem of choice between wholesale and retail price arises. There are much variations in the retail prices, therefore index numbers are based on the wholesale price. And on the other hand, some more difficulties are there, like comparison of different places not possible. And if we go more into the depth of that, we find out that even if different places within a country are taken, it is not possible to apply the same index number of them to them. This is because of differences in the consumption habits of people. People living in the northern region consumes different commodities than those consumed by the people in the south of India, and it is therefore not right to apply the same index number to both. And if we talk more about not applicable to an individual, an index number is not applicable to an individual belonging to a group for which it is constructed. If an index number shows a rise in the price level, an individual may not be affected by it, and this is because an index number reflects averages. So now what we have done, we have seen that there are how the certain stumbling blocks can be eradicated while we are formulating the construction of index number, and there are certain methods of constructing index number. If we go into the backdrop, we will find out that methods of constructing index number is bifurcated into unweighted or simple index numbers and weighted index numbers. Again, when we are going to segregate this unweighted or simple index number, it is bifurcated into simple aggregative method and simple averages of price relative methods. So this is come under the ambit of unweighted. And when we are going to talk more about weighted index number, I think weighted averages of price relative method is a part of the weighted index number and weighted aggregate method. So these are the two methods which we do under the ambit of weighted index number. So in general, construction of index number is further available for the division in two parts, simple and weighted. And furthermore, the simple method is classified into simple aggregative and simple relative. Similarly, the weighted method is classified into weighted aggregative and weighted average or weighted relative. So this is the method which we are going to do, and we are going to talk more about all these the methods of constructing index number one-to-one basis. So when we talk more about unweighted index number, all items are treated equally and without using any weight. And when we are going to talk about weighted index, an index that can shows the importance of certain item is known as weighted index. So there are certain formula, and we have seen that method of index is bifurcated into simple and weighted. Simple is aggregate, simple relative, then weighted is weighted aggregate and weighted relative. And if we go more into the depth of that, we find out there are a lot of methods which are applicable over here. The method could be general in nature. Method is known as Las-Perez method, then Pasch method, then Fisher method, then Drobish method, then Marshall, Kelly, Walsh and Bowley and Edgeworth, his method is also applicable. So there are a lot of methods are there, but due to time constraint and other issues, we are just focusing on 2 or 3 the omnipresent methods which are quite frequent in nature and used by the experts in formulating or constructing the index number. So we start with unweighted index. In many situations, we wish to combine several items and develop an index to compare the cost of this aggregation of items in two different time periods. For example, we might be interested in the expense of operating and maintaining an automobile. For the index, it might include tires, oil changes and gasoline prices, or we might be interested in a college student index. So this index might include the cost of books, tuitions, housing, meals and entertainment. There are several ways to combine the items to determine an index. Each has its advantages and disadvantages based on the variables used to compute the index. Now if we talk more about the unweighted index, this unweighted index is going to be calculated with the help of certain formula. Simple average of the price relative, if we are going to talk about, the formula is P equals to summation of Pi upon N, where Pi refers to the simple index for each of the items and N is the number of items. And when we are going to talk more about the simple aggregate index, this is the formula is P is equal to sigma Pt upon sigma P0 multiplied by 100, where sigma Pt is the sum of the prices rather than the indexes for the period T, and sigma P0 is the sum of the prices for the base period. So this is the method which we are going to apply, and types of indices are also referred to as simple index number. So this type of indices are also referred to as simple index number. In this method of constructing indices, weights are not explicitly assigned. These are further classified into two categories: simple aggregative index, simple average of relative index. So we start with simple aggregative index. This is the simple and least satisfactory method of constructing index. In the case of price indices, through this method, the total of unit cost of each commodity in the current year is divided by the total of unit cost of the same commodity in the base year, and the quotient is multiplied by 100. So symbolically, if we are talking about P01 is going to be explained this way, that sigma P1 divided by sigma P0 multiplied by 100. Similarly, the quantity index may be expressed as Q01 and sigma Q1 divided by sigma Q0 multiplied by 100. So in this method of constructing a price index, first of all, price relatives have to be computed for the different items included in the index. Then the average of these is calculated symbolically, and P01 is equal to sigma P1 upon P0 multiplied by 100 divided by N, or we can say that sum of the price relatives divided by number of items. So N is number of items, and P1 upon P0 multiplied by 100 is considered as sum of the price relatives. So weighted index, if we go more to the backdrop, it is bifurcated. It is calculated by last payer's price index and past quantity index. So if we talk about the weighted index and index number in which the component items are weighted according to some system of weights reflecting their relative importance, it is however usual to describe an index as weighted only when weighting coefficient enter explicitly into its definition and calculation. So definition of last payers and past indices is that both indices are quotients in which the numerators and denominators are the sum of the prices multiplied by the quantities for the item in the basket. So if we more talk about the last payers index, numerator is the sum of the current prices, time base period quantities, and its denominator is the sum of the base prices, time base period quantities. So the past index numerator is the sum of the current price times current period quantities, and its denominator is the sum of the base price times current period quantities. So quantity changes over time for various reasons. For instance, higher fuel mileage in today's car might translate into fewer purchased gallons per car compared to the earlier year. So if we see that last payer versus past index, so there are certain the advantages and disadvantages which the last payers have, and on the other hand past have. So if we compare, we find out that when is last payer most appropriate and when is past the better choice. So we have to see as per the circumstances and then decide which the methodology is going to be best. So last payer talk about if we talk about the advantages of last payers, requires quantity data from only the base period. This allows more meaningful comparison over time. The changes is the index can be attributed to changes in the price. And if we talk about the disadvantages, does not reflect changes in buying patterns over time. Also it may overweight goods whose prices increases. And if we talk about the past have certain advantages because it uses quantities from the current period. It reflects current buying habits, and There are certain disadvantages, like it requires quantity data for the current year. Because different quantities are used each year, it is impossible to attribute changes in the index to changes in price alone. It tends to overweight the goods whose prices have been declined. It requires the prices to be recomputed each year. So there is a formula of last pay index, and this is known as the average of weighted relative prices. The weights used are the quantities of each item bought in the base period, and the formula is last pay index is sigma Pn Q0 divided by sigma P0 Q0 multiplied by 100. So Q0 is the quantity bought in the base period, Pn is the price in the current period, and P0 is the price in the base period. So this is the the formula, and on the basis of that, if we take certain hypothetical the problems which talks about the items or the price of the particular year, quantity of a particular year, then quantity of the price of after 10 years and quantity after 10 years, and when we compute it, I think in Excel sheet or in a spreadsheet, the value comes the total of this, like items are bread, eggs, milk, apples, orange or coffee, and the prices for the particular year, the old year is coming this, prices of quantity of the old year is coming this, and if we multiply this, we get the total of that, and this total is PT Q0, and afterwards the new after 10 years we take another year, which could be the price of the price is in this format, quantity is in this format, and then total of this. So we see in yellow color the total of the old year is 336.16, and the price and quantity multiplication is coming 365. So which is some sigma PT Q0 divided by sigma P0 Q0, and when we have taken when we have put it in the formula format, I think the value is coming 108.8. So this is called last payer price index and calculated by this way. So if we talk about PAS index, uses consumption in the current period, measures the change in the cost of purchasing items in terms of quantity relating to the current period. PAS and last payer will generally not yield the same result, because PAS index is based on the different format and last payer is based on the different format. So PAS index is equal to sigma Pn Qn divided by sigma P0 Qn multiplied by 100, where Qn is the quantity bought in the current period, and Pn is the price in the quantity period, and P0 is the price in the base period. So in the same manner, what we have done, we have taken a figure, and then we have started calculating there is a price of the old year, and after a decade we can take in a price of a different same items with different amount, and the quantity is also there. And then what we have done, we have put it in the Excel sheet, and then after calculation of this P0 and PT and QT, the value is coming 404, and if you talk about P0 into QT, the value is coming 369.73, and then the 100 is the way of calculation, in the formula, and then we have put the values coming 109.4. So if we calculate through last payer, the value is coming 108.8, and if we calculate with PAS, the value is coming 109.4. so there is a difference. So what we have observed that that is more important, that one emphasize more on the quantities and other emphasize more on the price. So anyway, I think by this way we can calculate, and we know that what exactly the score is coming. So this method was introduced by Professor Irving Fisher. Methods combine the techniques of both last payer methods and PAS methods. In other words, in Fisher methods, weights are represented by quantities of both base and current year, and the formula is P01 square root of sigma P1 Q0 divided by sigma P0 Q0 multiplied by sigma P1 Q1 P0 Q1 multiplied by 100. So P01 is equal to square root of L into P. So what we have taken, so this Fisher formula is basically combination of last payer and PAS method, and P1 is price of the current year, P0 is the price of the base year, Q1 is quantity of the current year, and Q0 is the quantity of the base year. So what we have observed, that one of the method was focusing on the price, other was focusing on the quantity. So but Fisher method is just a combination of all those, and while formulating this Fisher method, we first calculate the last payer and PAS method, and then take a square root of that, so which can give us a very appropriate figure what we have done. So anyway, I think we have very well talked about how we are going to construct the index number, which is a very important ingredient, because the good part is that you can take the n number of years. So if you make a slab of intervals of 10 years, I think very easily you can compare the records of past 10 years with the other past 10 years. So this is the way by which the things are going to be done, and you get a very holistic view about it. So index number measures the relative variance in prices, quantity value of some other items of interest from one period to another period. This we have already discussed. And index numbers are used to measure all types of quantitative changes in the agriculture, industrial and commercial fields, as also in such economic magnitudes as income, employment, exports, imports and prices. And through investigation of these changes, assist the government to implement appropriate financial measures in order to accomplish growth with firmness. Index numbers are termed as a measure of change, a device to measure change, or a series representing the process of change. Index numbers are used as an indicator to indicate the change in economic activity. They also provide framework for decision making and to predict future events. So it may be concluded from the difficulties and limitations of index numbers that index numbers are at best approximations to measure changes in the value of money. However, these difficulties become less significant if index numbers are constructed for short intervals. So this is because habits, tastes, techniques of production and the qualities of commodities entering into a price index number do not change during the short period of time. I think index number is one of the important ingredients as far as the trend analysis is concerned, and by this way we can very easily do the or get the result in a very faster mode. So in our coming sessions we are going to talk more about the testing of certain wave, either it could be the t-test, ANOVA test, or the hypothesis testing. So we have completed a good number of lectures talking from the inception stage to curtain raiser stage to just framing the concepts or building the blocks, and now we are just focusing on how we are going to execute, how we are going to apply this philosophy, apply the statistical philosophy in getting the results in a mathematical manner. Thank you very much. We will have some more thought-provoking sessions in the coming days. Thank you.